Hey guys, I received a really long email from a YouTube user called Biomass Vids, who asked me a lot of questions about being disabled in Japan because he's coming here shortly. So I've made this video for him, but I'm hoping that other people might benefit from it too. Japan has an aging population, which means almost everybody has a relative with some sort of disability or another. So it does seem to be fairly friendly to disabled people. So, for example, here's a post office with the guides on the floor here, the yellow guides for visually impaired people. Pretty much anywhere in public areas they have these. So pedestrian crossings have these aids to help people cross the street, visually impaired people cross the street. And these things pretty much everywhere. So here we go, going into a subway. So the elevators seem to have braille and also audio assistance to tell people what floor they're on and that sort of thing. So for visually impaired people, it seems to be fairly pretty good, I guess. The newer buildings, new areas, of course. As for Biomass Vids, talking about wheelchair access and so on, most of the subways and train stations, public areas, seem to have either ramps or elevators. I couldn't think or find an example of a station that didn't. There possibly is, but most public areas seem to have them. And then, like this big dojo that you saw in another video recently, there's an area there for wheelchairs. So most public places seem to be pretty good, and every new building I've ever been in has been pretty good. This is actually a parking area. And you can see the car park for everybody else out there in the open, and here's this disabled parking area with this amazing roof over the top of it, and then a big parking space and ramps leading off to the restrooms and so on. So it does seem to be pretty good. And disabled toilets. The toilets, public toilets, obviously in old buildings, you do find the old Japanese toilets that you would have seen in the Japanese toilet video, but most of the newer buildings do seem to have these, electronic disabled toilets like you'll find in other places. Push the button and the door opens. And I didn't film in there. I just didn't feel right going in there with my camera. But you know what they're like, same as other countries. This is a big department store. As for apartments, Biomass mentioned he's going to stay in an apartment. If you get an apartment that's higher than about 4 or 5 levels, they'll have elevators. You just might want to check with that friend you're talking about just to find out how access is to their apartment building, because the 2-story apartment buildings, 3-story apartment buildings will have stairs, as will the houses. Most houses in Japan are two stories, so obviously there's stairs involved there to answer that question, although the bathrooms do tend to be on the first floor. So you might be okay as far as entering into an old house or a new house. Here's an apartment. Now, I measured that door space you asked me about access. 74 centimetres, 29 inches is about average for the doors. They're not real wide, so 74 centimetres or 29 inches, and then into the genkan, and then up onto the floor that you would have seen in the genkan video. So I'm not sure what you can do about this. You mentioned you've got to light a chair. I guess you'll be wanting to use the same chair outside as you use inside. I don't know how practical this idea is, but is it possible to make some sort of sock or some sort of cover to cover the wheels? Because of course people take their shoes off there. If it was possible for you to put some sort of cover on your wheels, like a I don't know, a wheel sock, I don't know, but some sort of cover for the wheels, I think you'd find people would be pretty good, people would be pretty understanding and kind. But if you could cover the wheels when you brought the chair into the apartment or the house, I'm sure they'd appreciate it if there's a way of doing that. I don't know if it's possible to make covers for the wheels But anyway, you asked about the bathroom. I wouldn't worry about the bath. You said you're worried about getting into the bath. That area to the left of the bath there, usually that's where people wash themselves. They soap up there. You would have seen this in the bathroom video. They soap up there and they wash themselves there first, and then they just get in the bath to soak. So there'd be no problem at all with washing yourself there in that area and not getting in the bath at all. There'd be no need to get in the bath. So if you could just get into that room and sit there on the floor, that's exactly what Japanese people do anyway. So no problem. Toilet, standard toilet. So however you deal with this in your own country would be the way you'd have to deal with it here. That's pretty much the deal in most houses. So anyway, I hope that's of some help to you, and please mail me with any other questions.